When most people think of royal funerals, they imagine centuries-old traditions, somber processions, and rituals that have barely changed since the days of Queen Victoria. The image is one of black-clad mourners, the slow tolling of bells, and a sense of history so heavy it almost feels sacred. But what if I told you that behind the scenes, there are moments that even the most devoted royal watchers never see coming? Moments that can shake the very foundations of royal protocol and leave the world in awe, reminding us that even the most time-honored customs can be upended in an instant. That's exactly what happened with that passing of the Duchess of Kent. In a world where every royal event is meticulously planned and every detail scrutinized, she managed to change everything with a single history-making decision. The news didn't just ripple through the royal household, it sent a tidal wave of surprise across the globe, catching even the most seasoned royal correspondents off guard. The news sent shockwaves through the United Kingdom and beyond. Royal watchers, journalists, and even seasoned historians were left speechless, scrambling to understand the significance of what had just unfolded. For a moment, it seemed as if the entire nation paused, holding its breath as the details emerged. Here's why this moment was a total shock for royal watchers everywhere, and why it will be remembered for generations, not just as a personal loss, but as a turning point in the story of the British monarchy. The Duchess of Kent's passing didn't just mark the end of an era for the royal family, it set in motion a series of events that would rewrite the history books. For centuries, the British monarchy has been defined by its deep ties to the Church of England. Royal funerals, especially, have always followed Anglican rites, with Westminster Abbey or St. George's Chapel as the traditional settings. These ceremonies are steeped in symbolism, echoing the monarchy's role as the defender of the faith. But this time, everything changed, and the world watched as a new chapter began to unfold. For the first time in modern history, a senior member of the British royal family was honoured with a full Catholic funeral, right at Westminster Cathedral. The sight of Catholic clergy leading the service, the sound of Latin prayers echoing through the ancient halls, and the presence of both Catholic and Anglican mourners side by side, it was a moment that felt both deeply traditional and radically new. The cathedral, usually reserved for the most significant Catholic ceremonies in Britain, became the stage for a royal farewell unlike any other, blending centuries of faith and history in a single, unforgettable event. The atmosphere inside Westminster Cathedral was electric with emotion and anticipation. As the service began, it was clear that this was more than just a funeral, it was a statement. The blending of Catholic and Anglican traditions, the shared prayers, and the respectful silence of the congregation all spoke to a new era of understanding and unity. For many, it was a powerful symbol of reconciliation, not just between faiths, but within the very heart of the nation. But the surprises didn't end there. Just as the world was coming to terms with this unprecedented event, another twist captured everyone's attention. A personal message from Pope Leo, the first American pope in history. His words would add a new layer of meaning to an already extraordinary day, and his involvement signaled just how significant this moment was, not only for Britain, but for the global Catholic community. The Pope's letter, delivered directly to King Charles and the royal family, was more than just a formal gesture. It was a heartfelt tribute that spoke to the very core of the Duchess's life and legacy. The letter was read aloud during the service, its words echoing through the cathedral and touching the hearts of everyone present. It was a moment of profound connection between the Vatican and the British monarchy, a gesture that transcended politics and protocol. In his message, Pope Leo praised the Duchess for her unwavering commitment to Christian values, her decades of charitable work, and her tireless advocacy for the poor and vulnerable. He spoke of her as a bridge builder, someone who brought people together across faiths and backgrounds and who embodied the spirit of compassion that transcends religious boundaries. The Pope's words painted a portrait of a woman whose faith was not just private, but lived out in service to others, a legacy that would inspire generations to come. The Pope's words resonated deeply, not just with the royal family, but with people around the world. Mourners wept openly as the letter was read aloud, and social media lit up with messages of support and admiration. For many, it was a moment of healing, a reminder that even in times of loss, unity and kindness can prevail. The outpouring of emotion was immediate and overwhelming as people from all walks of life shared their memories of the Duchess and expressed their gratitude for her example. Around the world, leaders and ordinary citizens alike paid tribute to the Duchess's legacy. Messages poured in from every continent, reflecting the global impact of her life and the significance of the Pope's gesture. In cities from London to New York, Paris to Manila, people gathered in churches and public squares to honor her memory, lighting candles and offering prayers for peace and unity. But why is this moment so historic? To understand its true significance, we have to look back at the long and often complicated relationship between the British monarchy and the Catholic Church. The story is one of conflict, division, and at times outright hostility, a legacy that has shaped the monarchy for centuries. For centuries, Catholicism was not just discouraged, but actively suppressed within the royal family. Laws dating back to the 17th century barred Catholics from the throne, and any royal who converted risked losing their place in the line of succession. Public Catholic funerals for royals were unheard of until now. The very idea would have been unthinkable just a generation ago, a reminder of how much has changed in such a short time. In fact, the last time a public Catholic royal funeral took place was more than 200 years ago, in an era when Britain was a very different country. Since then, the monarchy has clung tightly to its Anglican identity, making the Duchess of Kent's funeral a true watershed moment. It was a break with centuries of precedent, a bold step into uncharted territory that will be studied and debated for years to come. The seeds of this moment were planted decades ago in 1994, when the Duchess of Kent made the courageous decision to convert to Catholicism. At the time, her choice was met with both admiration and controversy. Some saw it as a bold step toward religious freedom, while others worried it would create a rift within the royal family. But the Duchess stood firm, guided by her faith and her belief in the power of reconciliation. Her journey was not an easy one, but it paved the way for a new era of openness and acceptance within the royal household. Now, as the world watched her funeral, it became clear just how much her decision had paved the way for change. Royal fans and churchgoers alike praised the Pope's tribute, calling it moving, unforgettable, and a sign of hope for the future. Many saw it as a powerful symbol of how far the monarchy and the country has come in embracing diversity and inclusion. The Duchess's legacy was not just in her faith, but in her willingness to challenge the status quo and inspire others to do the same. The impact of this moment is already being felt in unexpected ways. Schools across the UK have begun to include the Duchess's story in their lessons, using her example to teach about tolerance, faith, and the importance of standing up for one's beliefs. Interfaith leaders have cited her funeral as a model for future cooperation, and young people are finding inspiration in her courage and compassion. This moment is more than just a footnote in royal history. It's a powerful reminder that even the oldest traditions can evolve, sometimes in ways nobody expects. The Duchess of Kent's legacy will live on, not just in the memories of those who loved her, but in the new paths she helped to forge for the royal family and for Britain itself. Her story is a testament to the power of faith, courage, and the willingness to embrace change, even when it means breaking with centuries of tradition. As the royal family continues to navigate the challenges of the modern world, moments like these show that change is not only possible, but sometimes necessary. The story of the Duchess of Kent, Pope Leo's moving tribute, and the historic funeral at Westminster Cathedral will be remembered as a turning point, a moment when tradition and progress came together in a way that inspired millions. The world will be watching to see what comes next, as the monarchy continues to evolve and adapt to the times. Want more royal surprises, untold stories, and behind-the-scenes moments from the world's most famous family? Hit subscribe and stay tuned for more.